TikTok is an application that is currently under investigation by the US government, where TikTok have actually been questioned for a lot of serious things, and right now it seems that the application could actually be shut down. And whether you choose to believe whatever is being alleged in this situation, I think there is one thing that we can all group together and collectively agree, is that social media, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a little bit dodgy. There are some things on the internet which, honestly, I don't think any human being should have to witness, and one of these things which we shouldn't have to witness is the thing that I've been doing plenty of research on, and that is today's topic, the Baby Totu investigation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to give you a warning before we go into this. Pretty much this situation is going to involve some of the worst possible things that you could possibly imagine. Now, whilst there are a lot of wild accusations in this video, which, don't actually have any backing, not coming from myself, of course, but coming from the people in this investigation, I should give you a warning that, yes, we are going to be dealing with some extremely sensitive topics. This particular situation has now led to a massive international online investigation, which pretty much means a bunch of people have gotten their phones out and they've said, "Ha, look at this thing. Isn't this definitely real?" I mean, most of it, isn't, but it's TikTok, and with TikTok, it is a complete and utter mess. And this has led to funds being created so people in this investigation can actually fly across continents and confront people involved. Police investigations are now happening, raids have happened, and accusations of the absolute worst possible things have been involved in the Baby Totu situation. And yes, my brothers, sisters, and listeners, welcome back to, yet again, another positive iNabber video. But jokes aside, I should say that this is definitely one of the darker theories and stories that I've seen on TikTok in recent times, and because of that, I will be using certain languages and wording to get around age restrictions, because YouTube, and I can kind of understand it, are a little bit sensitive when it comes to the topics that we're going to be speaking about in today's video, so please do not get mad at me if I say things in weird ways or blur out words or blur out pictures. Throughout this video, I am going to be blurring the video surrounding children, because this is a topic surrounding a lot of kids. So please don't get mad at me. It's just because I want people to actually see this video, because it is indeed a very important video and a very important topic that I think more people need to know about, simply because of the amount of misinformation being spread in this situation, but also due to the fact that there could be something extremely sinister going on here, and TikTok right now could be responsible for pushing very, very harmful content. And with that content, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind right now that creeps on the internet are consuming the content and commenting very, very worrying things about very young children. So given the sheer nature of the seriousness of this video, I'd really appreciate it if you commented beans or something productive down below. Don't actually comment something productive, but comment something that is actually productive down below, because YouTube love to absolutely usually take these videos out of the algorithm, and this is a very important topic, ladies and gentlemen. So please do your bit by helping this video get out there and get seen by people, get views, because it helps me out, it helps get the story out there. And if you don't want to do that, then go make your own videos about it, go make your own tweets about it, and all that good stuff. But yes, without further ado, let's get into the question that you're all probably wondering at this point. Who actually is Baby Totu? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that leads us into speaking about a country which I don't really discuss on this channel, and that is Azerbaijan, which is a country which currently spans between Asia and Eastern Europe. And I say currently, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, unless, aliens come down and kind of switch around the planet. But the actual reason we're speaking about Azerbaijan is because, yes, Baby Totu is a child who lives in a shelter in Azerbaijan currently, and recently Totu has gone viral on TikTok on this account right here, which you can see has almost 200,000 followers, and the name translates to the House of Love. And on this account, you can see that the videos get millions upon millions of views, and pretty much in every single video, there is a child. It's clear that the center point of the content surrounding this TikTok account is children. And ladies and gentlemen, whenever I see an account on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever the social media platform is, not this one though, because nobody uses this anymore. Whenever I see an account which is pretty much just orientated around children being posted onto that platform by an adult, by a parent, by any form of adult, when the content is simply surrounding children, it is the sole burning point of why people view this TikTok account, it always brings the moral dilemma and moral question into my tiny little brain cell. Should children really be used as a center point of a TikTok account ran by a parent/guardian, or just in general any adult? And surprise, surprise, I think no. Because ladies and gentlemen, I'm a content creator. I love making videos, but the thing I love more than making videos is when you finish those videos and what do you get? viewers. Viewers are very important, and every single content creator on the planet is constantly in the pursuit of getting a 1 in 10. What is a 1 in 10? Well, on YouTube, it's pretty much the system which says if you've got a 1 in 10, that's your most viewed video in the last 10. And that means to me and to you that YouTubers, Instagrammers, TikTokers, whatever you want to call us, all want to get views. And obviously that's completely fair, that's nothing to be embarrassed about, but when your content is surrounding posting children, it gets a little bit murky, it gets a little bit fishy, because YouTubers will do anything to increase their views. And when that involves children, that is a little bit worrying to me, because one, children cannot consent to being in these videos. They do not know what they're doing for the most part, they don't know that they're being presented to millions of people, and with the House of Love TikTok account, it is definitely being presented to millions of people, and of course, that to me is a bit of a moral dilemma and ethical issue when it comes to any social media profile that does this same sort of thing. But I guess the natural question is, well, with this account, what actually is the House of Love? Well, yes, the House of Love is of course this TikTok page, but when you do a little bit digging and a little bit of research, you can discover that the House of Love is actually a shelter, which is in Azerbaijan's capital, Baku, which is owned by the former First Deputy Prime Minister of Azerbaijan's daughter, Konul Gizmova. And I do have to say, I think I've probably mispronounced a lot of words so far in this video, and I do genuinely apologize. I am an ignorant Brit, and I'm honestly not cultured when it comes to Azerbaijani words or names of cities and towns, so I apologize if I have deeply offended anybody, and if you want to go get mad in the comment section, honestly, you're absolutely entitled to. But yes, the House of Love is this shelter, and this TikTok page seemingly is videos of children who are in that shelter right now, and what they do on this TikTok page is live streams, videos, and Instagram lives, where on these live streams they seemingly get sent donations which apparently go towards helping the children in this shelter. And ladies and gentlemen, at this point of time, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Fraser, what actually is the problem here? Because yes, putting aside the moral dilemma of having a TikTok account which solely based around posting children, it seems like a pretty nice and genuine thing, doesn't it? It seems like we've got a charity here which helps out kids who are in need. But the problem is obviously the dark theory surrounding baby Totu.
Today we are going to be talking about Totu.
Baby Tutu thing?
I looked up this orphanage and translated the articles to English and was horrified.
They turned off all their comments on all their social media accounts after my video blew up.
This shelter has a lot of social media presence.
Totu, and that translates in English to taken.
The owner of a Baku orphanage where children are tortured is the daughter of a high-ranking official.
Seeing all of this, and I feel so bad for this little girl. I mean, I wish that there was more that I can do. I just spent all my morning trying to look into what I could possibly do.
So yes, as you can work out right now, people think that this shelter and this TikTok page is ran by some extremely devious, sinister, and evil people, and baby Totu, as I said, is somebody that resides at this shelter, and in the videos posted on this TikTok, some of them have gone viral for the wrong reasons. A video in particular of Totu seeming terrified and honestly not looking healthy at all, with hair seemingly falling out, went viral, and people started getting angry. People started doing investigations. And with that, it obviously led to a lot more sinister accusations and also just sinister beliefs out there. People out there even believe that Totu is actually not even a girl, but is actually a boy being dressed up as a girl in order for the shelter to garner more donations, which apparently will not actually go to the children, but actually go into the back pockets of the people running the TikTok account and running the shelter. And I should say, for, obvious and legal reasons, because I do not want to deal with a cross-continental lawsuit, these are all allegations, and in fact I'm going to be disproving and debunking a lot of things in this investigation, because a lot of the things being said are absolutely wild. One of the main things, of course, which you can probably imagine is being alleged, is that this shelter is a place where, how do I say it in the YouTube TOS without getting absolutely nuked by the system? It's a place where they take children and they sell them for Cash prizes. Not cash prize, they sell them for money. That's the allegation here. There is a specific word on the screen right now which has been a little bit censored, but this is the accusation which is mainly surrounding this shelter. And that mainly comes from some, I guess, suspicious, alleged hidden meaning in certain TikToks. And let me just say this, fellas. When you're using symbolism based on Western media in a story in Azerbaijan, I start to doubt a few things here. Firstly, because these people aren't multinational billionaires who are taking over the world. They are running a shelter in Baku. It's not like this big international operation. It's a shelter in Baku. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but when you look at some of the symbols which have been used to accuse this shelter of specific horrific actions, you really have to wonder, what would these symbols primarily dominated in Western culture have anything to do with Azerbaijan? As I showed you on the map earlier, these countries like the United States, where the symbolism kind of is spoken about the most, is very, very far from Azerbaijan, and I really would be confused if there was any correlation here. And going through this shelter's Instagram, regardless of if they're guilty of certain things or not, I think it's pretty clear that there is no association with certain groups out there. I think that this is a group where there could be a lot of dodgy stuff, but let's be real here, people. I think on TikTok, a lot of people like to go completely overboard. Even if this was a shelter in the United States of America, it still would make no difference. Using symbolisms like Balenciaga as a way to identify if these people are criminals or not criminals is absolutely insane. If they're wearing Adidas, does that mean is absolutely fine, ladies and gentlemen? I know that kid's got bruises on him, but he's not wearing Balenciaga, so it's all good. Makes no sense. It's a stupid thing. And you may be wondering, well, why are you referring to Balenciaga there? And it's mainly because something I've seen, a lot of reasons that people think that these people in this shelter are selling. It's because one of the people in the shelter was caught in a video. I say caught, wearing Balenciaga in a video that they uploaded. And firstly, if they're like doing these illegal practices, why would they so happily present that in their videos if that's what you think they're doing? Obviously, they're not going to self-report like that. But secondly, it's just stupid for a multitude of reasons that we will get into in the latter part of this video. But ladies and gentlemen, just because that some of these hidden meanings are absolutely ridiculous for the obvious reasons that we just stated, it doesn't mean that the concerns surrounding baby Totu and just in general the children at this shelter isn't warranted. There are a lot of things out there which are extremely worrying and extremely suspicious. Well, not just suspicious, but just seemingly outright wrong. Because yes, as I said, videos of baby Totu went viral, sparking concern, but there are also photos and videos out there of children having bruises on them, marks on them, and it obviously seems that yes, there is something weird going on here. Even if there are some, logical answers to this, such as they had these bruises and marks on them when they came into the shelter, the question is well, why are you posting these things? I know people will say, well, it garners money and charity, but when you look at this TikTok account, it's clearly not just a charitable thing. It's clear that TikToks are being posted to simply get views and popularity and to make the account more popular. And you may say, Fraser, how do you know that? Well, it's obvious by just looking at the account and the trends being done on the account, but also just the fact that of some of the things said in future interviews, which we will get into in the latter part of this video.
Bu karara geldiniz ki yani fotonu paylaşasınız. Yani nəyə görə?
İzləyicilərin istəyindən əsas irəli gəldi çox. Bir gün mən bax indi 4-5 gün paylaşmadım fotonu. Bir dənə mənim telefonlarıma, direktdə baxsanız belki de bir min mesajın.
But yes, with the videos posted on the Instagram and the TikTok account, it does seem like the kids in the videos are terrified in some of them, simply looking uncomfortable, not wanting to be there. So it seems to me that yeah, this TikTok is understandably absolutely frightening to look at, and instantly at a first glance, it will make you shiver. And of course, at this point of the video, you can't look past the moral dilemma of should you be even posting these videos, even if there isn't something absolutely illegal going on here. I guess the question should still be asked of, is this actually all true? Or is it TikTok being, well, just TikTok? Because ladies and gentlemen, historically on the internet, when something, strange and creepy happens, what do? Oh yeah, we go absolutely mental. Take Marina Joyce, for example. People were concerned, people were worried, there were some strange mannerisms and behaviors in her videos. So what did people do? They said that Marina Joyce was possibly kidnapped by... Now, I think we went a bit overboard there. It's very easy on the internet to get wrapped up in a story and make it seem to be the most insane thing on planet Earth, the most insane thing that you've ever heard in your entire life, the most insane thing that could be more insane than the most insane thing that happened last week. On social media, we like to warp things, we like to blow things up, and I'm not downplaying what's going on in this situation that we're speaking about today, but what I am saying here is that we need to take a lot of the misinformation and throw it into the garbage. Try not to take any of it seriously, because if we do take it seriously, then it blurs the truth. And of course, the truth, ladies and gentlemen, is the most important thing here. And with allegations of journalistic corruption, false rumours being spread, and a battle of words between multiple people, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to be careful. We're only around quarter way through this video, but so far you can see that there have been a lot of wild claims, and a lot of claims backed up by silly reasonings. So I am breaking this video currently up into two parts. Of part one, explaining everything, what people currently think and why they think that, but then part two of this video is going to be the debunking, the explanation to kind of work out what is actually going on in this situation. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's actually get into the information which actually has validity to it. Something which isn't just a creepy symbol on a TikTok, but something which actually can, I can't speak English. Something that can actually be, valid when it comes to getting worried, concerned, and upset. And that starts off with this article, which was posted in June 2022 in the Azerbaijan media, called "She was the daughter of Zulful Gazimov, the owner of the shelter where children were..." I'm not going to read that word, but you can kind of guess what that means. And yes, this is the same shelter, which is the TikTok which we've been speaking about, which has almost 200,000 followers now. And obviously, at just the mere description of that alone, it's obviously a little bit concerning. New information has emerged about the head of the shelter where children have been for months. It should be noted that CM, detained in the shelter from the end of February to the beginning of May 2022, was subject to various mental and physical violence during his stay in the shelter, as well as witnessed mental and physical violence against other minors in the shelter. In addition, traces of injuries were found on the bodies of 2 other minors detained in the shelter. And the shelter itself was actually eventually raided, and obviously this is just absolutely insane and disturbing, and again begs the question of, why is there a TikTok account with 200,000 followers where they are posting content of children giving these severe allegations? And it only gets worse in other articles where it says the prosecutor's office initiated a criminal case to do with the torture of somebody who has not reached the age of majority and someone who is in a helpless state, which is obviously absolutely disgusting. And you can probably tell the wording is a little bit weird in these articles, and that is because, they're from Azerbaijani media, and I have translated them over with Google Translate, so obviously some things here and there are going to be a little bit different because, the Azerbaijan language, or the language that this was originally written in, is different to English. But I don't really think you need to speak English to really realize how terrible these allegations are, and the head of the shelter has outright denied these claims, but given the raid and everything that's been said in these articles, it obviously is a little bit difficult to not actually get worried about everything going on here, because for one, why would these things be written if they weren't true? It would just be a little bit weird to run a slander campaign against a shelter which is helping children. It's just confusing to why that would be a thing. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I perfectly understand that these people aren't just going to put their hands up and say, yes, we did those crimes that you're all accusing us of, because, if they did do that, they would, go to jail and lose this supposed TikTok empire where they are making possibly money from these donations. I don't think that they're just going to willfully be like, sign us up for prison, geez. Even the chairman of a well-known children's human rights organization in Azerbaijan has been speaking about the treatment of kids in these types of shelters. And with everything here, it obviously paints an extremely suspicious picture to what is actually going on here. But there are some problems. There are some things which, to me personally, don't really make much sense. Number one being, as you can see from the TikTok account, the shelter is still open, and surely based on these articles, this TikTok account would have been shut down by now. Because even if the investigation hadn't been concluded yet and was still ongoing, which some reports suggest that this investigation is still ongoing, I don't think they would allow the kids to remain in a place where, as you could see in the article, it apparently described them as in horrible states pretty much. Why would they allow the kids to remain there? It just really doesn't make much sense to me. But obviously, this is one of the biggest parts of why so many people are worried about people in this shelter and worried about this TikTok page. It's concerning for obvious reasons, but things don't make much sense, and I'm not denying these things, but obviously there is some suspicious stuff here. Because yes, apparently the kids were removed during the raid, but now you can see on the TikTok they're back. So the only question you can ask, I mean, was the investigation a failure? Did the kids have no actual issues? What's going on here? And despite all of that, you really have to ask the question, if all of these theories were actually true, if there was like some international level crime lord situation going on, what is the business model in this situation? Because they have built a social media profile where it posts these children, and the problem is their posts have led to all of these accusations. It wasn't like one day they were randomly raided. No, everything in this situation originates from their page. But if they were running a business like these theories do suggest, then surely they would want to do the complete opposite of that. Surely they would want to create as less amount of noise as possible, but their TikTok and Instagram say the complete opposite to that. But as I said, some of the people in the shelter have been speaking up. They've been saying, you know what, we didn't do this. And obviously, I mean, they would. They're never going to put their hands up, as I said earlier, and just be like, oh yeah, we did the crime. I mean, it wouldn't really make much sense to do that. But also, we will be going into an interview later in this video where one of the heads, if not the main head at the shelter, discussed this raid and said that yes, there was a raid, but pretty much everything was absolutely fine. They completely got on with the police, and it seemed that there were no issues. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, that does kind of compute with pretty much everything we've looked at, because as I said, why would they be allowed to run a TikTok account with 200,000 followers if they were doing the things that they have been accused of in these media articles? But then you have to ask the question of, why were these allegations even put out there in the first place? Why were people worried? Why are people on TikTok so absolutely up in arms right now about baby Totu and about this shelter? I'll keep saying it, but ladies and gentlemen, it's all very confusing. But my lovelies, you are going to have to hold your thoughts, because there is one thing which I don't think I've explained so far in this story, and that of course is baby Totu. Yes, you know who Totu is at this point, but well, why does baby Totu actually come into this story? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that means we need to go back to the year of 2022, the year of where I'm pretty sure absolutely nothing happened. Like, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, did anything happen in this year? Because I just think back to 2022 as just like a blank spot. Nothing really happened in that year, but alas, February the 4th, 2022 was the first appearance of baby Totu, as you can see on the shelter's Instagram post right here. The caption reads, "A victim of economic violence, cannot take care of her child. In her application to us, the mother wants to live with her child and not to receive treatment for her child. May God bless everyone in this difficult time." Now, pretty much what people have speculated is this was the first moment that yes, Totu was brought to the shelter because the mother was very troubled in a place of where she really needed just help, so she came to this rehabilitation center which was for mothers, women and children. And in this case, Totu, I guess, got brought to the shelter, and it seems, according to rumors, that Totu were adopted by the head of the shelter. In fact, in the interview that I mentioned earlier, it does kind of seem that they do confirm that they are now the, I guess, guardian of Totu, and that really is only, I guess, seemingly confirmed in a post a month after the one I just showed you, of where it's the same woman in the interview holding Totu with the caption, "My Totu and a heart." And a lot of people have suggested that this woman has stolen Totu from the mother, when that's absolutely not true. There are videos out there with Totu and the mother. Totu was definitely sent to this rehabilitation center because she was in a bad condition, which we will get into further in this video. But again, I want to disprove as many theories as possible, because there could be a very serious case going on here. And obviously, when you get so many like fake stories and blurred lines, it really blurs the truth, and it could put possible victims in danger, because it means that people will just drop this story and just see it as a bunch of lies, when the reality is there possibly is something bad going on here. But yeah, this is the origins of Totu, of where she was seemingly taken in by this woman. And ladies and gentlemen, at this point of time, I completely understand if you're thinking, Fraser, why is this the problem, because it just seems right now that despite, if you put all the allegations of, everything aside for a second, it just kind of seems that a young child has actually found a good place in her life. Well, I would like to say that's the case, but obviously we all know that's not. Because the moment baby Totu started getting posted on their social media profiles, it seemed to change things. Their Instagram, their TikTok, it started getting views, it started getting popularity, and it seemed that a lot of people had randomly become a fan of this random child that they had no idea who they were. And this is something which deeply confuses me when it comes to child-based content. Who are the audience? And I'm not saying it are they all weirdos, but I'm saying it like, why? Like, why does anybody care to really watch a kid? I get it. Kids can be adorable, but the fact that people just outright follow these accounts, I've never really understood it. And if you could give me some answers to why in the comments section, I'd bloody love to know why, because baby Totu became an overnight sensation on the internet, seemingly enough. She was getting more views than I've got on my channel in the last 2 years combined. Look at these views here. Millions upon millions of views. And with all of this, a lot of people did start to get concerned and debate why was this actually happening? Why is this child randomly becoming an overnight internet sensation? It just seems a little bit off, and again, there is some obvious reasons that I've just mentioned previously, but that kind of throws us back to a video I uploaded months ago about Ren Eleanor. Now, this was a situation which is pretty much similar here, but you have a mother posting her kid all over TikTok, and on these videos there were millions of views, but also an obscure amount of saves on the posts, a lot of weird comments of creepy people speaking about Ren Eleanor's child on this TikTok account. And it does kind of seem that this is a very familiar case when it comes to Totu. Looking at the views, as you can see here, 13 million views, 1.5 million views, 9.8 million views, and definitely a lot of saves. And obviously, I don't think all of these people are going to be criminals, creeps, or whatever you want to call them, but I do think that it is a little bit concerning that when you just go through the comment section of Totu, there are some disturbing things. For example, I found a comment of somebody pretty much saying that they would kidnap Totu if they could, and there was a bunch of other weird stuff there. It is just very, very disturbing. And ladies and gentlemen, there has been a lot of debate and discussion about this specific part of this situation. A lot of people have been suggesting, if you even say these things, that these things could possibly be happening in this comment section, you are actually the problem because you're the one imagining it into existence, which to me, if you say something like that, you're just playing blissful ignorance. Let's not pretend that there aren't creeps on the internet. There are definitely creeps, and they are definitely in the comment sections of profiles like Totu's, as you can see here and here. Even just some of the ones, like, I just don't understand why there is even a fan base for a child which literally doesn't even have sentient thoughts at this point. Like, you've really got to think about this, ladies and gentlemen. I think to be posted on social media to this extent, you've at least got to be able to speak a language. For example, in my Ren Eleanor video, I found that there were people claiming to put photos of Ren Eleanor's daughter all over their bedroom wall. We need to protect children by acknowledging the fact that there are creeps on the internet. It's a very comfortable way of being like, oh, let's just not think about those things. But if you do that, and if you do play blissful ignorance, well, people are going to get harmed, because then you are just enabling that behavior by ignoring it. But it's clear that the people who ran this account knew that Totu was popular. The moment they started posting them, Totu started to appear in more and more videos and Instagram posts, merely because the views were going up. It seemed different in comparison to when they posted a photo or video of a random kid from the shelter. Totu would just get far more views than any of them combined, and they gradually started to garner a bigger audience with this, and in particular, an audience from the West. A lot of Americans started to find out about Totu. And this wasn't because people in the West were like, oh, what a cute little TikTok page. It was because of growing concerns from, I guess, the main audience after a lot of headlines started to resurface. The ones we've been going through today started going round, but also videos of Totu started to really gain traction, where in those videos, Totu seemed terrified. She didn't want to be on the camera. She was in a bad condition, which we've been speaking about throughout this video. Of course, we're kind of going in a big circle here, but I've kind of had to allow you to understand what's going on here. But now we're learning how we actually got to this point, because people in Azerbaijan were concerned, but then that eventually led to people in the West who had no idea about these shelters truly discovering about what's possibly going on here, and obviously it led to this online investigation which we've been going through throughout this entire video, people started to go insane and were so unbelievably concerned. Petitions were made. So many people were airing their support for baby Totu. And what's incredible about this is, despite everything, we still don't actually know the truth behind pretty much anything here. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, with this story so far, we have a plethora of allegations, but also quite a few contradictions and just some things which outright don't make much sense. And I think with all of that, it means we move into the second part of the video where we actually start to break things down. I'm now going to go through everything and just try and come to some form of conclusion of what is actually going on here. Because at this point of time, I can understand if you're a little bit confused, if you don't really know what's the truth and what is the truth. Because the problem is with TikTok, people, everyone on that application is absolutely nuts. And as much as I say I hate the application, I do for a lot of reasons, but I also love it. But stuff like this just really makes me detest the app. When you have a very serious and horrible story and probably some dark things going on, TikTok just takes that and makes it so unbearable. And not unbearable because I think these issues are scary or sad. Unbearable because it just blurs the lines of truth from reality and what is actually going on here. And obviously, that is dangerous because that prevents real victims from getting justice. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get in to the grand debunking. Okay, so TikTok, as I said, is an absolutely brain-dead app full of a lot of brain-dead people who seem to think that they are now investigatory journalists because they can use the search bar to find certain keywords. And with that, of course, it leads to allegations such as, well, these people in the shelter seemingly selling the kids, pretty much. That's what a lot of people say, and the allegations all come from, as I mentioned earlier, symbolism. And yes, this does bring us back to what we were speaking about earlier with things such as Balenciaga, but also not just that, because there were other symbols that people were getting worried about, upset about, especially when it came to baby Totu. And I think I should just say, guys, when it comes to symbolism in videos, it's best to not hyperanalyze absolutely everything, because it will just take you down a pathway of just absolute mind-numbing madness. So please, for the love of God, do yourself a favor and just realize that sometimes some things can really be not that deep. For example, there was a video posted on TikTok where they compiled a bunch of kids, I guess, from the shelter, and they pointed out that in these videos there were like photos of pandas. Pandas kept appearing throughout the videos, and according to the caption, pandas is a keyword for, well, for this. And ladies and gentlemen, shock discovery, but I think people may be showing their kids pandas because pandas are fluffy and cute. Like, am I going insane right now? Because the conflation between pandas and... they just don't seem like things that... well... that... it's just... stupid. It's just stupid. Kids blooming love pandas, and that's why there are pandas in these videos. Not because they're being sold. Jesus Christ. Can we not do this? Because as I just said, stupid analyzations like this, and I don't even know if analyzation is a real word, but stupid analysis like this makes us stop real victims from getting justice, because there could be something very serious and dangerous and sinister going on here, but because you spread this bull, it allows these people who may be doing these bad things to point out that BS and use it as a way to deflect from the real possible story that could be happening here. But also, there could just be a complete line of innocence, and we could just be going outright over our heads and, you know, just be accusing these people who would probably do some nice things of being horrific people. So I think this is why we need to have a little bit of nuance. And then we move on to the next bit, which I mentioned earlier, of course, when somebody was wearing Balenciaga in the shelter. And again, apparently that means that they are... you know what that apparently means they are. I don't even need to say it, but you know what apparently that means they are. And ladies and gentlemen, this is obviously so so silly, and I'm not actually going to explain it to you. Instead, I have found a YouTuber from Azerbaijan called Salvatore Sinclair, and in this video she not only goes through the baby Totu case, but she also explains why this theory of them wearing Balenciaga, meaning that they're these international criminal masterminds, is a silly rumor. And I don't think I should have to get somebody to explain it, but I'm gonna get somebody to explain it.
For my Azerbaijani viewers back home, do you honestly think this lady got her shirt from Balenciaga? Or do you think she got it from 28 keçid or Sederek? I think the latter sounds about right. For my Western viewers, people wear fake designer in Azerbaijan. Not everyone can afford it. I had fake designer. We all did. We all do it. It's completely normal. I've seen old ladies in Baku flaunt socks with Gucci and Chanel logos on the same foot. And do you guys honestly think people all the way in Azerbaijan give a about the Balenciaga scandal in the United States?
And ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely true. In a lot of these post-Soviet countries, this is something that just happens. I know it's a completely separate country, but I've been to Russia, and the same thing was happening there when I spent like a month in Russia in 2018. You saw a lot of fake merchandise being sold, but it's not just in Eastern European countries. Even in European countries towards the West have this exact same thing. You go to places like Barcelona, they're selling fake Gucci everywhere. It's a thing that happens pretty much everywhere. And the thing is, as she said, I don't think these people have any form of affiliation when it comes to the Balenciaga scandal, which was happening thousands of miles away. I mean, I know people that have worn Balenciaga. Does this mean that this man is selling kids on the... Maybe. But going back to this YouTube Salvatore Sinclair, they were actually the one that has done the interview that I keep referencing throughout this video, but also in this video they shed their opinion on the Azerbaijani media as well. And basically this does kind of make things even more confusing to what they already are. Because in the video they speak about how there is an issue in Azerbaijan media when it comes to, I guess, journalistic integrity. But I guess my only problem with this would be, why would anybody lie about a shelter which is merely there to look after women and children in need? It just seems a bit confusing. Now maybe that comes from my ignorance, maybe there is like some, I don't know, a shelter level turf war thing going on, but either way, I don't think I can really look past these media headlines considering how many there are. To me, with the amount of headlines that I found from Azerbaijan news sources, not just the same sources but multiple, there is no smoke without fire, and I just simply cannot go outright deny that something weird and horrible could be going on here. But then the interview itself confuses me even further, because there are two interviews done here. You've got the interview with somebody that works at the shelter who seemingly is the guardian of Totu, and then you have the interview of the person that actually originally shed the light on this Totu shelter story in the Azerbaijan media. But when you take a look at the interview with the person that is the guardian of Totu, it's strange because Totu is actually in this interview and they seemingly are healthier than they appeared before. Totu seems actually happy in this interview and the person actually seems genuinely quite nice. And ladies and gentlemen, I know you could say, well, anybody can appear nice and anybody can make somebody else look nice. I get that, but you've got to remember, these raids happened seemingly months ago now. Looking at the headlines here, and now it's what, 9 months later and Totu is still there? I think it could possibly come into what I was saying earlier about how these kids have come into this rehabilitation center at a rough period in their life. They have got bruises and they're not looking great, but they've come into it, and now, as you can see in the interview, well, you can't see because it's blurred, but I can see that this kid clearly seems much healthier. So maybe the rehabilitation center is just, well, rehabilitated Totu. And the weird thing is when you go over to their TikTok page, you can see in a lot of the comments, people in more recent times have started to notice that, yeah, Totu seems healthier, seems happier. And there was kind of like a theory, I guess, like going around in the comment section that Totu is now with somebody else, but this is not the case. Totu is at the same shelter with the same people, but Totu is now appearing healthier, which only leads into the theory that yes, they have actually been rehabilitated and things are going going much better for them. And then this leads us into, well, why is this woman in this interview now the guardian of Totu? Because yes, this also created a lot of theories. Well, in this interview, they actually clarified. They said the reason that they are the guardian of Totu is because Totu was very sick when they came to the shelter and they had to go to Turkish doctors, but with this they needed a guardian to sign certain papers so treatment could be given to Totu. But the problem was that the mother of Totu was also very sick, and in some cases the mother could not travel to other places like Turkey, so they needed to switch the guardianship for Totu, which is what this woman says in this interview. And to be honest with you, this makes a lot of sense. This adds up with pretty much everything here, because yes, this is a rehabilitation center for not just young children but also mothers as well. And then when you go into the second interview, which is with a person that actually criticized the shelter originally, the person that in Azerbaijan alerted the media and the public about this possible situation, even they are critical about misinformation, stating that some of the things said online aren't true, but they are still dead set that Totu is in a bad position, and they are so dead set that they're right. They say, if they're wrong, sue me, and also criticizes the use of Totu on billboards, and just in general says that she is upset that this child is sick and is now being used as some form of promotion. And firstly, I completely agree that using children to promote your brand, your TikTok page, just in general using sick children to get money is obviously a messed up thing to do. But also, as I've said throughout this video, I'm someone that strongly is against just in general having TikTok pages solely dedicated to children. I think that's ethically wrong and honestly not fair on a kid, considering that they can't really consent to it. I disagree with it vehemently. But to be fair, I think the main argument from the shouter would be, well, charities do this all the time. They take videos of kids in unfortunate positions in order to pretty much get people aware about the shelter, because if they didn't record things and post them on their TikTok, people would probably not know about the shelter and they wouldn't get any form of help. And the reason that these companies do it is because sometimes if a charity just goes up to you and says, hey, can you give us free money because, you know, we need to help the people at our charity, if you don't show the people the true horrors of what's going on, they may not give you the money. But if you show somebody something terrible, it may make them feel bad enough to give money. For example, if somebody knocked at your door and said, hey, we're raising money for injured dogs, you may not give money. Now, if you're a good person, you might give money, but somebody like me, I'm someone that needs to see something sometimes to truly feel bad. Actually, no, I don't know why I just said that, because literally the other day, somebody went up to me when I was walking down the street and was like, hey, can you look at my charity? And I felt bad. The guy seemed like a sweet dude, and I ended up donating money because I didn't even know what the charity was about, to be honest with you, but I just did. And I've been like paying a monthly subscription to Battersea Dogs because I had a lovely person come to my door and they were like, hey, you want to donate? And I crumbled to peer pressure. So ignore what I just said. Instead, just apply it to you cold demons. I need to get better with peer pressure. And if they hold up a photo of these dogs in horrific conditions, I'm probably going to be guilt-tripped into giving money. And I think that's what the whole, I guess, reasoning is behind here, according to the people who work at the shelter. But still, there are a lot of weird things which I don't think have really been explained whatsoever, and these things are definitely going to loom over our heads throughout this entire thing. Firstly, why are there so many articles out there about this shelter saying the heinous and sinister and terrible things which they state? Why are those all around on the internet, and why have these things not really, in my opinion, probably been addressed? Because as much as there is an interview of the people that run this TikTok account and everything and run Baby Totu's social media presence, there hasn't really been a clear answer to why these raids happened. As I said, they spoke in the interview about the raid, but why would they have even had to happen in the first place? Yes, there could have been false rumors going around being spread, but then there obviously is the case of, well, after the raid was taking place, as you can see in these media websites, it states that there were some terrible things found. Now, would this be a case of these kids already had these injuries when they came into the place? But surely these journalists would know that. If I can put two and two together that quickly, surely a paid journalist can. It's just very, very confusing. And yeah, maybe if it was just one media article suggesting these things, maybe I could say, oh, the journalist might have got something wrong. Maybe I missed something in translation. Maybe the story just isn't completely accurate, and maybe the reports aren't really true, and that's why they still have the kids. But then you realize that there were public interviews to do with this shelter. There was actual investigations seemingly done where these news companies went outside the shelter. They went around the place and investigated it. To me personally, it seems that there is far too much here to merely suggest that these news articles are simply fabrications or somebody getting something wrong. When you are having multiple different interviews about this sort of thing, to me it does breed the whole phrase of there is no smoke without fire. I would love to outright deny these things, and throughout this entire video I feel like I've been pretty fair. Yes, we've been investigating it, but at the same time I don't think we've played into these absolutely wild theories. But the problem is in these interviews they really haven't addressed why these things were said. But then that moves us into our next problem. Another news headline that I found, which honestly could just change absolutely everything in this situation. Because whilst doing my research through these media sources in Azerbaijan, I was trying to find more and more information when it came to this shelter, because rather than searching for things just relating to Baby Totu is the, I guess, popular speaking point in this, but to be honest with you, they don't really have any contribution other than they made this shelter more popular. So I started to look into other people who had stayed at the shelter, and I stumbled across another media headline which it's very, very concerning. The horrors of the shelter for children and women as presented by its former pupil. And in this article it states a 15-year-old who claimed to stay at the House of Love gives their apparent experience of, well, all of this, saying that they had themselves set on fire, children's heads had been set by their hands after pouring alcohol all over them. They forced her to rummage through the garbage. Apparently they were forced to wash their clothes, as in I guess the people that work there, to bathe children. They were made to wash her clothes, clean all the floors, and basically some of the worst things that you could see. As you can see through this article, it's just an absolutely extremely disturbing read. It's all so unbelievably just harrowing to look at. But again, you have to say, is this just a mere coincidence? Is this the media lying? I don't understand why they would. And at this point of time, we have multiple people speaking out against this shelter. We have videos out there of, as I said, yes, kids with bruises, and I know we came to some form of logical answering to them, but with this article, with somebody in the interview speaking up against them, and yes, they spoke up against misinformation, but they still believed bad things were happening in the shelter, with raids happening, there is no smoke without fire. The things that I'm saying right now are obviously all allegations, but with everything, it does just seem all incredibly fishy and suspicious. Just in general, looking at this TikTok page makes me feel uncomfortable with everything surrounding it, and I really don't understand why the answers haven't really come out. Why are these allegations out there with no addressing? Why are all of these things still there? It really doesn't make sense that these people, despite their now major TikTok presence, haven't said anything about it. But I think the whole thing comes down to misinformation, because when you have a very legitimate, well, in this case, allegedly a story which seems to have legs, if you put one lie out there, it can completely destroy the entire thing, because that lie can be used as a shield to deflect from everything. So with people putting out there that they're insane stories, they're insane theories, it simply destroys so much credibility that when there are actual real, or at least serious looking allegations out there like this, it gets all washed up away in all of the lies. Rather than hyper-analyzing pandas and weird stuff in symbols in somebody's TikTok, how about we actually address the things that have been actually alleged here, rather than somebody saying, oh, look at that panda, why don't we say say, ooh, look at this 15-year-old girl saying all of these things. Isn't this deeply concerning? But I guess the question is the baby Totu story real? The story is so incredibly convoluted and there are so many lies spread around the internet at this point, it's really hard to put a picture together. But honestly, given everything that I've just spoken about, given all of the things that are available on the internet from journalists in Azerbaijan, you really can't ignore stuff like that. And I know in this video I've seemed a little bit defensive, I've seemed to try to debunk absolutely everything, but with the allegations in this situation, ladies and gentlemen, these are some very serious things. Not just, oh, they might get cancelled, they might have to delete their account. These are criminal accusations, and if this was a shelter which genuinely was doing good and helping people, I would not want to contribute to these allegations if they weren't possibly true. So I think approaching this with nuance and questioning is the best possible way to do that, because you do have to ask, why hasn't there been real genuine explanations to what was going on? They spoke about the raids in their interviews, but as I've said throughout this, they never really specified why those raids happened. It's not just like one day everybody gets a raid by the police. No, these are incredibly strange things that just happen out of nowhere. And also when you have people detailing their apparent personal experiences, the suspicion only gets furthered. It's all well and good saying these things are slander, but honestly, it is just seeming at this point incredibly suspicious, and this TikTok account does make me feel uncomfortable. Even when you remove absolutely everything, you have to go back to the thing that I mentioned towards the beginning of this video, of there are weirdos and creeps in the comment section to these videos, and I understand that it has to be for charity, but when you look at the video, most of the TikToks aren't exactly coming from a place of charity, and to me are clearly just them trying to get views. Look at the amount they capitalized on Totu becoming an internet sensation, and they even admitted in the past that they knew Totu was the one that would get views. So to me, even if there isn't a crime going on here, there's still something where I don't think it's right for a child to be posted this much on the internet and be a center point of a social media account, which honestly they probably don't even realize is a thing. But ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't end there, because it's time to discuss my final issue of this situation, and that is the handling of absolutely everything. Because yes, in regards to the situation, we've pretty much gone through all of the main points, but there is a specific group of people on the internet that seemingly want these rumors, theories to actually be true. And if you're somebody who right now is against the shelter, that's completely fine. I myself also am in the standpoint of being against the shelter, but there are people who seemingly do not want people to criticize some theories. They don't want you to question things that don't exactly add up and make sense. And if you dare do that, they will go insane. They will go into your comment sections, flood you with dislikes, attack you for merely just asking questions, which is incredibly ironic because asking questions is how this situation even began. Look at this comment right here, for example. Not only have they written this absolutely massive like this is one of the biggest comments I have ever seen, but it continues when you look at the replies where they've written pretty much an absolute Bible explaining why they're a bad person pretty much for just simply asking these questions. And the comment section this is in is Salvatore Sinclair, the YouTuber that I've referenced a few times throughout this video, which is incredibly mad to me because in their videos they don't really go against or stand with the shouter. They're more just impartial and neutral and are just trying to be balanced with an incredibly serious situation. But obviously TikTokers and TikTok just need to be absolutely insane. There can't be any nuance. It's either one answer or nothing. Like there's no way of having some form of middle ground. And this comment, it says, "You are not a professional. You have absolutely zero training and identifying child or identifying behaviors of a children. You have zero training on how to interview possible." So I mean, it's just such a ridiculous thing because firstly, they don't know this person, but secondly, you don't need exactly to be an expert in the field to just simply ask questions. And this person in their video is clearly coming at it from a journalistic standpoint, and I actually think they did a great job in asking pretty much the questions that I would have also asked. But even if you're watching this right now and disagree with how they handled the interview, fair fair enough, you're entitled to your opinion, but in this comment, they just keep on going even more insane. You continue to shame someone who is advocating for a child is possibly being a... What gives you the right to go on social media, multiple platforms, and make affirmative statements that this woman is all clear of these claims? I mean, she didn't actually do that in the video. If anything, in her first video, she actually brings up the headlines that I've mentioned throughout this video. All they're trying to do is get a story out there and help bring further clarification to it. What gives you the right to sit there and affirm that everything is actually true? I really don't understand why people in any sense would make this argument, because you can literally just flip it onto you. Right now we have a situation where there aren't many facts and most things come from speculation, and yes, in the bigger grand scheme of things it looks bad towards the shelter, but just shitting on somebody for asking questions is absolutely ridiculous. But it only continues with other comments. You are now on the shouter's side. How could you? God is watching you. And it's like, mate, what are you even talking about? I seriously don't understand why people on TikTok can't simply just be a little bit nuanced. I've been using the word nuanced in a lot of my recent videos, and it's mainly because I feel like society at the moment is just gradually losing all sense of that word, because right now, looking at this comment section, I'm truly blown away about how people are handling this situation. And as I said earlier, this honestly only impacts victims negatively. Because if you are going to take every theory and be like, it's true, and you're an awful person for denying it, these people who are being accused of it will take actual lies and use it to deflect from the truth. Which is the main point of today's video, because whilst I don't have a conclusive answer to everything, I can say that spreading lies and insane theories is only going to do negative things. And there were also people saying things such as, why does Totu look terrified? Why was she, I guess, sick and injured? But that's already been answered. I've been complaining throughout this video where things haven't been answered, but you could just do a little bit of research to discover that Totu was sick when she came into the orphanage. She was found rummaging through dustbins, so obviously she was going to be sick, and it doesn't take much research to literally go on TikTok, do a few searches, and you can find a video of Totu with her actual birth mother, and the birth mother is pretty much in the video just completely slating the father of Totu, because Totu's father is a bad dad pretty much. He left Totu in a bad position, and this is coming from the own mother's mouth.
So Allah seninle razı olsun basically means, may God bless you for taking care of my kid for so long while I was missing. Why was she missing? Because the mom is a drug addict and so is the dad.
And Allah atasının belasını versin basically means, may God punish the father. I asked Miss Könül, why is she saying that? And she said it's because the kid has a father who's a drug addict, as I mentioned, and the kid was literally found in the trash bin. And the woman interrupts her again by saying, I'm going to report the dad. The dad is the reason why this kid is in the situation that it is today. And Könül obviously later on in the video says that I've already reported him, and she was like, no, I'm going to report him as well.
And ladies and gentlemen, that did not take much time to find, and no, it doesn't exonerate the shelter from everything that we've discussed in this video, but as I will keep on saying, I think the best way to handle a situation is by going through the most truthful route possible, and it's clear that with the Totu situation, it has definitely been blown massively out of proportion. But ladies and gentlemen, to actually come to some form of conclusion to this long, depressing, dark video, despite not having a conclusive answer to everything about what's truly going on here, I'm going to take a stand. As I said, I currently think that the shelter are the ones in the wrong in the situation right now, and maybe they can rectify that, but they need to provide further information. Despite my criticism to how people have handled this situation, right now you cannot deny the facts that there are headlines out there saying very dark and scary things about this shelter, and you do have to ask the question of why are TikTok allowing this content to be on their platform, given the severe allegations out there. Yes, the investigation is probably still ongoing, but given the fact that there are written testimonies out there about people's experiences in this shelter, and the shelter themselves have had so long now, over 6 months, almost coming up to a year, to explain these things and defend themselves correctly, they still haven't done that. And I think that's an essential point in this video to make. Regardless of absolutely anything, the fact that they've gone through all of these interviews and not really explained where these allegations came from and how they ended up in these articles, to me is just incredibly fishy. And of course that will always bring me back to TikTok, because I don't feel comfortable knowing that with all of this there is an account out there coming up to 200,000 followers, an account which seemingly is taking money via donations in their live streams. I don't feel comfortable knowing everything that we know at this point and getting really no solid concrete answers to anything here, other than some of the things involving Totu, of course. To end this video, I will say, despite everything and all of the accusations in this situation, I think there's one thing we really can't deny, and that's the fact that in all of these videos on the TikTok account, it features a lot of young kids who at this point probably aren't even sentient. They are very, very young, especially baby Totu, and I've said it throughout this video, but I really am not comfortable with the fact that the entire content posted on their social media page comes from kids that cannot consent to being in these videos. Especially when you look at some of the videos that originally made this situation go viral. I don't know about you, but if I grew up and knew that there were videos of me looking traumatized and absolutely just not in a good situation whatsoever, people calling me sick, saying that I need help, I wouldn't feel comfortable knowing that that was used to earn money via social media. And with that, I just think that there is an ethical dilemma when it merely comes to this TikTok account, but also all TikTok accounts where the content is solely based around children. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the ending of the video. I truly hope you did enjoy it. I know it was a long one. I know it was very depressing, but ultimately this is a situation which over the last week has genuinely just kind of taken up all my time, because when you look into it a little bit, there is a massive rabbit hole. I don't know how, but this situation just continued getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
That's what she said.
And despite everything, I still don't actually have any form of conclusive answer to pretty much anything. But yeah, please let me know your thoughts down below. I would genuinely love to know what you guys think about this situation, because it is a very weird one. It's not really something that I cover on this channel, going through these wild theories, but if you want me to do more content like this, please let me know down below. I would genuinely really appreciate it, because I enjoy making these videos despite they take very long to make. And if you want more, I would love to know. But please also subscribe to this channel, but also more importantly, please subscribe to my podcast, The Buddies Podcast. It is in the description. We do an episode every week, so please, if you could do me a massive favor, just go over there after this video, click subscribe, go watch one of the videos on there, and comment something like beans if you really do want to support me, because it genuinely means more than you know. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Thanks for coming along. Peace out, everybody, and have a great weekend or week or day, whatever day it is. I don't know. Bye bye, and keep on being beast.